This is the 1984 Chapter 7 summary, 7 through 10. Winston wakes up in Mr. Carrington's room and he's upset. He tells Julia that he's been dreaming about the past. He had originally believed that he had murdered his mother, but now he believes differently because the dream told him that. He talks about how they attempt to alter histories, and the proles, he thinks, are the only humans left. Winston and Julia discuss their future, given their O'Brien's contact, that they could possibly be tortured or put to death if they get caught. But they decide as long as they stay true to each other, they're willing to gamble. Winston claims that confession is not betrayal as long as you know on the inside you're right. And we're going to see that that's not going to work out. Book 2, Chapter 8. Winston and Julia get to O'Brien's little house, which turns out to be a really nice place. Remember, he's an inter-party member, so he has privileges. They describe materialism in his apartment that is actually like the capitalists, which the party says that they don't like. O'Brien is able to turn off his telescreen, which is a privilege only inter-party members can do. Winston really says that he wants him and Julia to work for the Brotherhood. They drink some wine. They toast to Emanuel Goldstein, the leader of the rebellion, the Brotherhood. They talk more about Goldstein. O'Brien asks Winston and Julia lots of questions to test their commitment to see if they really want to be loyal and join the Brotherhood. They get really drunk. Julia has to leave because she's so drunk. She goes and lays down. O'Brien starts questioning Winston at that point about his hiding place, about giving him Goldstein's book. And he says he will arrange a time for Winston to get Goldstein's book in a public place. And then Winston has to read it and return it within 14 days. O'Brien then lets Winston leave his house. Before that, Winston asks if he means where they're going is a place where there's no darkness. And without even stopping to think about it, O'Brien nods and says, yes, without a place without darkness, which is odd. Winston and O'Brien repeat the little rhyme about St. Clement's Church, which remember that was what was on the picture in the bedroom that he has been using for the illegal sex, as if he'd been watching them the whole time. Hello, obviously he has. Duh. Book 2, Chapter 9, Goldstein's Manifesto. He gets the book. Basically, Winston gets Goldstein's book. Winston goes to a private room in Mr. Carrington's shop, and he reads it. He remembers Hate Week, that they did like some fake news during Hate Week saying that Oceania was at war with a different country, and they blamed the switch on Goldstein, which he knows is not true. Winston feels at peace, saying that the party, he doesn't feel bad that he's helping with the party's lies because now he has Emanuel Goldstein's book. He reads through the book and unfortunately realizes, and he reads it to Julia, ironically though, the manifesto has titles from party slogans, and Winston learns absolutely nothing new. Everything's the same. So it seems that this book is likely false and only a tool to catch people that are in rebellion, and that means Emanuel Goldstein and the Brotherhood are probably not real either. And lastly, in Chapter 10, we know what's going to happen here. It's going to get bad. They're going to get busted. Book 2, Chapter 10, Winston and Julia had sex, and then they woke up later at night. They're in Mr. Carrington's room. They discuss the future and how it depends on the proles. And all of a sudden, from behind the St. Clement's Church picture, Mr. Carrington's voice says, "You are dead." And from that picture in Mr. Clement's Church, there's a dummy front, and there's actually a telescreen in the back from that picture. And then they hear stomping boots. Uh-oh. The police have come. The troops storm in through the window. They kick in the door. They beat in Julia and Winston, and they drag Julia away. Mr. Carrington comes into the room, and that's when Winston realizes he has been a member of the thought police the whole time. He is busted. The end of Book 2.